Alright, picture this. You're out in the middle of nowhere, minding your business, and boom, a bright light flashes across the sky. Your phone glitches, your dog starts barking at absolutely nothing, and suddenly, silence. Now what if I told you, just for a second, what if aliens have already been here? Not in some sci-fi future, not in 100 years, but right now. Or worse, before we even knew what to call them. Buckle up, because we're diving headfirst into the weird, unexplained, and the downright terrifying possibility that aliens have already visited us. First up, let's talk about ancient history. And by ancient history, I don't mean your grandpa's old war stories, I mean thousands of years ago. There are carvings, paintings, and texts from civilizations all around the world that describe encounters with sky beings, or gods from the heavens. The ancient Egyptians, yeah, they built the pyramids, but even today, scientists scratch their heads over how they pulled it off. The stones are massive, they're aligned with cosmic precision, and oh, there's literally artwork that looks like flying saucers. Coincidence? I think not. And then there's the Nazca Lines in Peru, gigantic geoglyphs that can only be seen from the sky, as if some extraterrestrial cartographer needed them as landing signals. Hey Zorg, park the mothership right next to the giant monkey. Oh, and let's not forget the Dogon tribe in Africa. These guys somehow knew about Sirius B, a star completely invisible to the naked eye, centuries before telescopes were a thing. Where did that knowledge come from? Did they just guess, or did someone, or something, tell them? Let's throw in some more evidence. Sumerian texts that describe gods descending from the sky in flying chariots. The Vimanas from ancient Indian texts, literal flying machines described in incredible detail. Even medieval paintings sometimes include strange floating objects that look suspiciously like spaceships. Either humans have very active imaginations, or we've had some visitors dropping by for a long time. And let's not stop there. Ancient cave paintings in Australia depict strange humanoid figures with elongated heads and large eyes. The Aboriginal people call them the Wangina, sky spirits that came down and taught them knowledge. Meanwhile, over in Mexico, the Mayans created calendars so accurate they still baffle scientists today. Maybe they just had great mathematicians, or maybe they had a little help from interstellar professors. Okay, but ancient history is old news. What about now? Enter UFOs, unidentified flying objects, or as the government now calls them, UAPs, the unidentified aerial phenomena, because you know, a name change totally makes them less mysterious. There have been thousands of reports of UFOs, from trained pilots to government officials to some random guy in Ohio with a shaky camera. And let's not forget 2020, when the Pentagon straight up admitted, yeah, those UFO videos, totally real. Wait, what? That should have been front page news, but nope. Buried under a pile of meh. One of the most famous cases? The 2004 Tic Tac UFO incident. Navy pilots saw a Tic Tac shaped object moving at insane speeds, doing maneuvers that laugh in the face of physics. No propulsion, no wings, just zoom. Either we're dealing with alien tech, or some country out there has mastered the art of warp speed and just hasn't told anyone. Then there's the Phoenix Lights in 1997. Thousands of people, yes thousands, saw a massive silent V-shaped craft hovering over Arizona. The official explanation? Flares. Yeah, because flares just casually form perfect geometric patterns in the sky. And let's not forget about O'Hare International Airport in 2006. Pilots and airport staff saw a metallic disc hovering above a terminal before it suddenly shot up into the clouds, leaving a hole in the sky. A hole in the sky. Weather balloon. Get out of here. Or what about the Rendlesham Forest incident? Often called Britain's Roswell, this 1980 event involved military personnel who saw strange lights, encountered a glowing triangular craft, and even recorded bizarre radiation readings at the site. And these weren't some random civilians, these were trained military professionals. And then there are the abduction stories. Now, I know, half of them sound like they came from someone who fell asleep watching Independence Day with a little too much tequila. But some of these accounts, pretty compelling. People describe eerily similar experiences, lost time, strange marks on their bodies, and waking up with knowledge they shouldn't have. Take Betty and Barney Hill, the OG alien abductees from 1961. They claimed they were taken aboard a ship, examined and even shown a star map by their captors. When Betty later drew that map from memory, astronomers found it eerily similar to an actual star system we didn't even discover until years later. Explain that. Oh, and ever heard of implants? Some abductees claim to have weird, tiny objects under their skin. Scientists have analyzed a few and found materials not commonly found on Earth. Either it's alien tech, or we need to have a serious conversation with our dentists about what they've been sneaking into our fillings. Now, let's get into everyone's favorite conspiracy theory. The government knows, and they're not telling us squat. Roswell, 1947, classic example. First, the military says they found a flying saucer. Then suddenly, it was just a weather balloon. Really? A whole army base got confused between a saucer and a balloon. Sounds fishy. And let's not even start on Area 51, a whole desert base where the government definitely isn't hiding anything alien related. Yep, sure, totally believable. And then we have Bob Lazar. This guy worked at a top secret site near Area 51 and claims he saw alien spacecraft up close. He even described an element, element 115, before scientists officially discovered it. Either he was a really lucky guesser or he actually saw something not of this world. And let's not forget the majestic 12 documents, leaked papers suggesting a secret government panel investigating UFOs. The government says they're fake, but come on, they would say that, wouldn't they? Alright, but if aliens have been visiting us, why aren't they showing up on the White House lawn going, "Take me to your leader"? Well, maybe they took one look at our reality TV shows and decided we weren't worth the trouble. Or maybe, just maybe, they have rules. Think about it. When we study animals, we don't just barge in and start teaching them algebra. We watch, we observe. Maybe aliens are doing the same with us. So, what do you think? Have aliens already visited us? Are they lurking in the shadows, monitoring our progress? One thing's for sure, next time you see a weird light in the sky, maybe don't just brush it off. Because what if it's them? Then there's Travis Walton, who was allegedly abducted in 1975 and missing for 5 days. When he came back, he was visibly shaken and he passed multiple polygraph tests. Either he's the world's greatest actor or something really weird happened to him. And let's not forget Antonio Villas-Boas, a Brazilian farmer who claimed he was abducted in 1957. His story? He was taken aboard a ship and, let's just say the aliens were very interested in human genetics. He later developed strange health conditions doctors couldn't explain. Was he lying, or did he really have the weirdest Tinder date in history? Alright, let's get real. How much do we really know about the world we live in? History, science, reality itself? What if everything we thought we knew was just scratching the surface? Last time we cracked open ancient myths in what if some old legends might be true? Because let's be honest, some of those wild stories sound a little too real. Are dragons just myths, or did something like them actually exist? Did Atlantis sink into the ocean, or was it erased from history on purpose? Then, we took the red pill and questioned everything in What If We're Living in the Matrix. Because, seriously, sometimes life glitches way too hard. What if that deja vu wasn't just a brain hiccup? What if reality isn't as real as we think? But this time, oh, we're going big. What if aliens have already been here? Lights in the sky, lost time, secret cover-ups, something weird is going on, and we're breaking it all down. Is the government hiding evidence? Have ancient civilizations already met extraterrestrials? And most importantly, are we next? So if you love crazy theories, unsolved mysteries, and the weirdest what-if questions, you need to hit subscribe right now. Drop a comment below with your wildest alien theory, because trust me, the truth is out there, and we're about to find it.